Okay, quick one today. So I've just got some real data here. This is the actual numbers from the 1st of March to 1st of April. So you can see the line here. It's hard to detect from this line, it's going straight up. But what you will tend from the rate of change, so all this is the difference between the previous day and the current day. And that's just the formula. So there's the rate of change. You'll see this. And you can see there's now starting to have a real drop off in rate. These numbers here, 14,9,676, really coming down the infectious rate. And so that's hitting a turning point. Now if we maintain these sorts of numbers, what you're getting is less concurrent infected people. So in this chart here, the numbers, even though you'll end up with probably only around 5,000 people affected, 10,000 people, a turning point, and the consequent immunity that comes from that. Yeah, and you'll have a still highly susceptible population, 25 million of people susceptible. You'll starve out the virus because it has to live in a host. So I can see a possibility, a best case scenario where it's starved out, the cases drop right off, the concurrent infected people. So instead of, this is like this chart represents washing right through the population. Concurrent infected people, susceptible drops down as they become recovered on this line, and you end up at the end of it with everybody who is recovered, and susceptible ends up down here with a peak infectious in the millions. So instead you could envisage a scenario where it turns around, you end up with a few thousand cases, it's still a very highly susceptible population, and then implement some strong measures like a high testing ratio, very readily available testing everywhere, like on street corners like Korea has, and also for people who are infected, strong measures for quarantine, also contact tracing, where people who are infected, people who they've been around, have also intervened and also put into quarantine under strict measures. That will allow us to, removing these positive people as they pop up, the rest of us can go back to normal life. That also would mean that hospitals get all the equipment they need in terms of their safety equipment, masks, and gowns, etc., covers, and it would mean also that we would have a problem with travel, because we wouldn't trust numbers from people coming from overseas. So anyone coming back from overseas or visitors would have to be in definite quarantine for 14 days. But in that type of paradigm, there could be normality in Australia, is the way I can, if you want to say what is the best case scenario, it's nothing to do with vaccines, it's just biding the time using measures like that, starving it out for a while. But we're really at the beginning of this, to be honest.